It's your show, Dr. Anker. Maybe it'll be a nice change of pace.
Nah, it's not that. You know, with a different.
I'm hearing this nicely.
Do it again next year. Send it to the Good morning, graduates of the class of 2021. Welcome to campus. My name is Wayne Edwards, professor and chair of American Studies, Media and Communications. Having recently returned to Old Westbury's faculty ranks after serving in several administrative posts, I thank our president, Dr. Timothy Sams, our provost, Dr. Duncan Qualis, and Ms. Danielle Collins-Groner, chair of our commencement committee, for asking me to do the honors of greeting you today. It's a privilege that I do not take lightly. That said, once again, welcome. As I was preparing my notes, I started to write welcome students, and then I had to stop very quickly because after Sunday's commencement ceremony, you are no longer students. You are now officially alumni of the college. So give yourselves a well-earned round of applause. I also extend greetings to faculty, staff, administrators, members of the College Council, the College Foundation, and friends of the college who are with us today, either in person or virtually. And last but not least, I extend greetings to your families, your friends, your loved ones who have supported you throughout your impressive academic journey. Please make some noise to show them your love and appreciation. Okay, now I'm going to say something here. See, I'm from the Bronx, so when we say make some noise, we mean make some noise. So let's follow that young man's lead and make some noise. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so now you sound ready. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce someone who is not only a dear friend and colleague, but more importantly, someone who holds a special place in the Old Westbury family. Laura Anker is a distinguished service professor of American Studies and director of the First Year Experience and Community Action Learning and Leadership Programs. The CALL program has earned Old Westbury a place on the President's Higher Education Community Service Honor Roll from its inception in 2007 until the program was disbanded in 2016. Dr. Anker is co-editor of The Ethics of Engagement, Educating Leaders for a Just World, co-author of Women of Courage, a study of Jewish and Italian immigrants in New York, and has published peer-reviewed articles and presented papers at national and international conferences on the importance of civic engagement and community learning for retention, intercultural understanding, social activism, and effective global citizenship. Not only is Dr. Anker an esteemed academician, she's also a community leader, and frequently speaks on issues of education and immigration. Dr. Anker was elected to the East Hampton Union Free School District for 7 terms, 21 years, and served both as its president and vice president. He's also served on the executive committee of the East Hampton Group for Good Government. In 2018, Laura Anker was honored by the Old Westbury College Foundation with the Leadership Award, and in 2019 was awarded the Outstanding Experiential Educator for Higher Education by the National Society for Experiential Education. I could go on, but why don't we just welcome Dr. Laura Anker. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Edwards, Daniel Collins-Groner, Dr. Sams, Dr. Quarles, Dr. Robinson, all my colleagues here, administrators and staff, but most important, thank you, our wonderful students, the class of, our wonderful graduates, the class of 2021, the largest graduating class in Old Westbury's history. Give yourselves a big round of applause. While we were able to honor you virtually in Sunday's grand formal graduation with all its pomp and circumstance, we're also so happy to be able to celebrate your achievements in these small, more personal ceremonies on Old Westbury's beautiful campus. And once again, isn't it awesome to be back here? Just let's clap for that. And I know that as I was walking around and talking to some students, they were saying it also feels a little weird, right, to be back here, because it's hard for all of us to come out of this shell that we've been forced into by the pandemic. But being able to be together in community, I think will get better and better and better, and we can't wait to be here permanently. Anyway, although the health precautions imposed by COVID-19 prevent your parents, extended families, and significant others from being in this room with us today, we are live streaming these festivities, and you'll be able to take pictures outside with them. If you want faculty members to be there with us, with you, any of us, it'll be wonderful, and you can memorialize this event in pictures. I know that as your greatest cheerleaders, your parents and significant others join us in applauding your achievements, academic, personal, and civic, the ways you have grown and the obstacles you have overcome to graduate from Old Westbury. Without their love and support, you would not be college graduates. So please join me in applauding them. Born out of the struggles for civil rights and economic, racial, and gender equality in the 1960s, Old Westbury is a young college with a long tradition of commitment to diversity, equity and inclusion, educational empowerment, active learning, community engagement, and leadership for change. From its inception, Old Westbury was committed to providing an elite liberal arts interdisciplinary education in a democratic context, to educating those who had been traditionally bypassed by American higher education. Women, students of color, immigrants, working class young people, and older adults. By graduating, you demonstrate that you have, in the words of Adrienne Rich, claimed this very special college education. Although we often talk about education as a gift, Adrienne Rich reminds us that learning is never passively received. It requires active engagement and the courage to challenge preconceived ideas and boundaries. Most of you have worked, often so many of you represent the first generation in your families to graduate from college. Most of you have worked often too many hours while finding time to study, to help support yourselves and to contribute to your families. Your graduation itself challenges the widening economic and racial divide in American society. By being here today and in your contributions to your families and communities, you personify Mahatma Gandhi's often quoted phrase, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." I know that the faculty, administrators, and staff gathered here today share my respect, admiration, and even awe at the enormity of your accomplishments. Graduating from college is a major achievement in normal circumstances, but you have persevered under the most challenging of times, a worldwide pandemic that has ravaged our nation and the globe, forcing you to complete the last year and a half of your college education remotely. Despite the difficulties of a transition to virtual learning, you have excelled academically and contributed as tutors, teaching assistants, college and community ambassadors, poll watchers, essential workers, and so much more. You're leaving us to continue your education in graduate programs and professional schools, or to begin your careers serving our society as teachers, doctors, lawyers, public servants, scientists, artists, writers, poets, librarians, journalists, entrepreneurs, counselors, social workers, psychologists, elected representatives, nonprofit fundraisers, researchers, and advocates for the environment and public health, who speak truth to power, knowing that education is the essential foundation of a democratic society and engaged global citizenship. As college graduates, you will enjoy more rewarding careers and earn at least $1 million more over your lifetime than those whose highest degree is a high school diploma. But your Old Westbury liberal arts education will continue to enrich your lives in so many more important ways than money, making you happier, more appreciative of the arts, music, and literature, and transforming your careers, your friendships, your ideas, values, and communities, the person you are and whom you will become. I can testify that learning from the differences and similarities in your voices and stories, inside and outside the classroom, has shaped my life and who I am as a teacher, historian, community activist, friend, spouse, mother, and grandparent. And I've been thinking that it has also transformed the lives of my children and my grandchildren. Because as Albert Einstein reminds us, we are just tiny little specks in this grand universe. And what gives us a little measure of immortality is these interconnections with the natural world, with our environment, but also with each other, with humanity. You are graduating from college at a particularly difficult time for our nation, during a global pandemic which has taken so many lives, accentuated the problems of racism and inequality that have plagued our country from its inception and continue to undermine our democracy and our humanity. But you, the Old Westbury graduating class of 2021, make this also a time of great hope and optimism for a better future. The unique diversity of Old Westbury has enriched your classrooms and challenged all of you to listen more carefully, reflect more deeply, think more critically, decide more ethically, care more intensely, love more broadly, and act more courageously and compassionately in everything you do. It has taught you, in the words of Martin Luther King, that an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. You have learned from the different experience and perspectives of your classmates and faculty to speak out and act against racism, sexism, inequality, and cruelty, to break that silence and bridge some of those differences between us, as Audre Lorde reminds us. For it is not difference which immobilizes us, but silence. And you've all learned that the greatest measure of success is the contributions you make to the community. To a divided nation and world torn apart by racism, hate, inequality, and the decimation of the environment, you bring the ideals and values expressed in Old Westbury's historic social justice mission: access and equity, inclusivity, critical thinking, empathy, creativity, intercultural understanding, lifelong learning, civic activism, and a commitment to building a more just and sustainable world. As graduates, you've become part of Old Westbury's history, but you also join the family of global alumni, 31,000 people strong, who will shape the college's future. We look forward to staying in touch and connected as you embark on your future journeys, and hope that you will channel the magic of Old Westbury to the problems of your communities, our nation, and the world, today and in the future. Thank you. And now it is my great honor to introduce our new president, Dr. Timothy E. Sams. Dr. Sams began his tenure as the 6th president of Old Westbury in January 2021 amid the COVID-19 pandemic, protest, political unrest, and the college's pivot to virtual learning. And we are so happy that he had the courage to come to Old Westbury in this time. Dr. Sams brought with him 3 decades of experience in improving academic success and college completion, particularly for students from underrepresented and marginalized communities. In the 4 short months since his arrival, Dr. Sams' commitment to Old Westbury's students, and I think you all saw that as we were gathering together and your president was walking around saying hello to all of you individually. His commitment to you and to the Old Westbury mission has won him the admiration, respect, and affection of the entire Old Westbury community. His leadership promises to advance Old Westbury's impact on the local and global community and our standing as one of the most diverse colleges in the nation, with a commitment to educational excellence, access, and equity, once more, to building a more just and sustainable world. Dr. Sams.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Anker. Please join me in thanking her for her wonderful words. Thank you very much. And for what was a trigger word that was encoded in there. That's why some of us giggled. I also want to ask you to thank Dr. Edwards for facilitating this morning's ceremony. Thank you, Dr. Edwards. And then also join me in thanking Ms. Danielle Collins-Groner, as well as the team that she led to put together commencement as well as today's ceremony and the 13 other ceremonies. Please join me in thanking Danielle. And then one final note of thanks. As you came in, you saw how beautiful the campus was. When you walked in, people greeted you. When you came in, the room was set up. You walked over there and someone was manning, literally, the Zoom call. There are a whole lot of folks who spent a good deal of time and effort making this just right for you, because it's so incredibly important for them, to them, that you have the opportunity not just to have an in-person experience, but to realize how much we care about you and how much you matter to us. And so, again, they thought it not robbery for them to spend extra time. Some folks are working overtime just to provide this opportunity for you. Many of them are not here. Some of them are still out there. I want to ask you to give those folks a round of applause as well. I will just note, but I won't expound upon it, that it didn't take courage for me to accept this opportunity. It was, in your life, there are no-brainers. This was a no-brainer. And it comes by virtue of the work that you are doing, whether it's through literature and English and history. It all fundamentally goes to the heart of what occupied the Grand Lodge of Wat in ancient Kemet, or ancient Egypt. And it said, know thyself when you enter a school. The whole purpose of education in ancient times was singularly to know yourself. And what you do brings every student, brings yourself, but it worked that way for me as a history major. I got into history after reading that, and I realized that that was the pathway to knowing myself. More importantly, what I realized was that there was an intent to keep me from learning that history because they didn't want me to know myself. So what you are doing not only brings a person to that point where they have a greater sense of themselves, a greater notion of their place in the world, but historically, but also you free them up to see themselves in bigger ways and bigger terms. There is very little, in my mind, much more important than doing that work if you are at your core about social justice, be it from the historical standpoint, be it from the literary standpoint, even when you write books that are similar to those that Harry Potter wrote. Hint, hint. When you do that, you open the world to the reader. And the importance of that is once you teach a young person that the world is their landscape, they may take 5, 6, 7 years just roaming the world like one of you, just sitting by the Seine on a Zoom call, talking to others. And that is as important than being in the streets, marching for social justice. So you're about to do great work. And for those of you, many of whom, professors, told me they're going to graduate school, many of whom will don a robe like we're wearing, and hopefully one day will join us in our processionals in graduation. But I can't tell you how proud I am and how hopeful I am, because not only do we need historians, not only do we need folks who teach literature or who write books, we need people who do it with an eye toward liberating other folks. That's what we need, and that's who you are. On Sunday, virtually, we recognize approximately 1,400 undergraduates and graduates who completed their studies here at Old Westbury. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we had to conduct the ceremony virtually, but in my opinion, and hopefully you will agree, we did a great service to you in Sunday ceremony. Yet today, we continue to honor you graduates with this recognition ceremony that is designed to allow you to have an in-person opportunity, most especially with your professors, both who are in person and on screen. We also, just as a secret, we also needed this ceremony to give us yet another opportunity to, again, wear our regalia. You see, we kind of like this stuff, right? We don't get to wear it a lot. And when we do, you should see us in the back room making sure that the hoods are proper, the head. Look how Dr. Edward is tilted just so perfectly, right? That's important. And hopefully you too will have an opportunity when you finish graduate school to come and wear yours as well. And we will be equally proud of you then as we are today. So thanks for providing us this opportunity to wear our regalia again. But more importantly, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your life, watching your development, watching you learn, watching you grow, and watching the little one grow as well, right? over the past 2, 4, 6 years, however long it took you to get to this point. We truly appreciate the contributions to our growth as educators that you have made. We are very clear that every time we exchange with you, we walk away with a nugget that we did not have before that conversation. You brought something to our table every time you open your mouth, every time you wrote your paper. And we truly appreciate that. My job is simply to say welcome, so I've already talked well beyond what I was put up here to do. In Ghana, West Africa, when you take a trip and return home, the family sits you in the living room and they sit with you and they bring you a cold drink. Generally, that's a Fanta. Generally, it's an orange Fanta soda. And they ask you a simple question. And that question is, what have you done since the last time we saw you? Since you left. They want you to tell the whole story and not skip any part of it. And you may sit there for the next hour just recounting your story. Some of us, it may be about 5 years, right? Or 6 years. That feels appropriate for me right now. Because if you remember, we haven't seen you in about 1.5 years. And in that time, a lot has happened. Now, I can't ask you to tell your story, but what we are sure about is in that time you quarantined. In that time you worked, you may have even worked more than you had worked before. In that time you took care of your family members, your son. You may have even lost a loved one and said your final goodbyes in that time. You took to the streets and organized against racial injustice. But all the while, as you did those things, you maintain your focus on your goal of completing your degree work and graduating this spring of 2021. So it's fair to say that you stayed focused. You didn't stray off. You stayed rigorous. You stayed engaged. And 2 of you wrote your thesis together. She and her son. So no plagiarism, all right? Don't worry. You stay rigorous, but you stay committed to your future. In that time since we last met. And because of that, today, I cannot express how immensely proud of you we are. We truly, truly honor you for your ability to stay focused. And you think about what it means and the kind of community you are in. When during a pandemic, we graduate the largest class in the history of this school. When you think about the company you keep, the people you partner with, the people you've chosen to learn with, they are focused and committed, and those are the type of people who will make for a better world. So today we honor you. We truly honor you. We are truly impressed by you. And we thank you for giving us a chance to give you a proper education and, more importantly, inspire you to change the world. You have truly owned your future, and we could not be prouder of you. Congratulations and good luck. I almost forgot my final responsibility, and that is to invite Dr. Edwards back to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Sams and Dr. Anker, for those encouraging and inspiring words. Can we thank them? So as we move toward the conclusion of this morning's program, I wanted to ask you if we can make a deal. It's actually a 2-part deal. Okay, so the first part of the deal, as I was growing up, my mother told her 3 children on several occasions my older brother, my younger sister, and myself, that if we're fortunate enough to achieve any level of success, actually the word she used was blessed, so I'm going to use her word. If you're blessed enough to reach any level of success in life, understand that on your path, somebody, or more likely many somebodies, reached out a hand and helped you along. Maybe sometimes pulling you, sometimes pushing you, but they helped you along. So now, as you leave Old Westbury as alumni of this glorious institution, and you're representing Old Westbury out in the world, and you become members of this 31,000 strong alumni group that Dr. Anker referred to, can we ask that as representatives of Old Westbury, and just as representatives of being good human beings, can we ask that you reach out when the opportunity presents itself, and it will, that you reach out when you're able to help someone and pull them along. Can we do that? I don't know. Okay, wait. Okay, so now I'm going to channel my mother. And she would say, I need to hear you speak it. So, can we get your commitment that when that opportunity presents itself, you're going to help pull somebody or push somebody, but help them get to the next stage in their life? Can we get that commitment from you? Yeah, all right, much better. Much better, thank you. And now, the second part of the deal is this. I want to share something with you that you may or may not know. And that is now, as alumni of this institution, you know the old saying, to whom much is given, much is required? No college survives, much less thrives, without a strong alumni base. Okay? Old Westbury has given you an education that will be invaluable to you as you move through life. So one of the things that we want to ask, sort of a requirement if you choose to accept, is that moving forward, you stay connected to the college, you help support the college. And when I say support, I know some of you are sitting there saying, oh, is he talking about money? What? And the truth of the matter is, in part, yes, I am. Okay? And I'll tell you why. It's not just that we want you to send us money, but your financial support helps provide scholarships for students, and I'm sure some of you in this room have benefited from scholarships along the way. Your funding helps with faculty research. Your funding helps provide programs and activities for students so that there's a more robust life at the college. And if we reach out to you for fundraising campaigns like our recent Student Emergency Fund campaign that raised over $100,000 to provide pandemic-related relief for students in need, we hope that if your heart is moved and you remember the college and you stay connected with the college, that you do what you can. And I will say this, that $100,000, yeah, we had alums who gave 1,000, we had alums who gave 100, we had alums who gave 10. They did what they could do. And all of that helps students coming behind you so that they can get to the same point where you are today. But it's not only financial. We may ask you to come back and speak. There's an event going on. that kind of fits your career path, and students who want to emulate you and do what you've done and achieve the same that you've achieved. So we may ask you to come back and speak to students. And that's another way of reaching out and helping someone along the way, helping them get to where you are today. So you will hear, I'm sure, from Ms. Penny Chin, who I don't know if she's in the room. I don't see Penny. She is here today. Penny Chin is our Director of Alumni Affairs, and you will hear from her. So just what we ask is that you please respond, stay in touch with us, stay in touch with your favorite professors, stay in touch with all of us here at the college. So can I ask for your commitment to do that? Okay, so I'm going to change up what I just said a little bit because I know I can ask. The real question is, will you do it? All right. Okay, so here's how today's ceremony will conclude. Graduates will move row by row with the help of volunteer ushers starting from the back of the room up to the podium. As you pass the screen next to John over there, when you pass that screen, there may be a professor or two or three who was unable to join us in person today, but are joining us via Zoom. So feel free to wave, say hello. They can hear you, so you can say hello to them. As you approach the podium, remember to leave space between you and the person in front of you. If I may make a quick sports reference, go Knicks! But we're not Madison Square Garden, so we're not going to sit on top of each other. We're going to leave some social distancing, okay? Hand your yellow name card at the podium to Danielle. And as your name is read, cross the stage and take a picture with President Sams. After being greeted by faculty, please return to your seats for one last Old Westbury formality, after which you can take pictures. We have picture stations inside and outside, so you can take pictures with your friends, your classmates, your faculty. All of us would be happy to take pictures with you, with your family outside. Okay, so you got that? All right. So Dr. Sams, may I ask that you take your position in the center of the stage? Faculty, may I ask that you take your position? And I would like to invite our acting dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Amanda Friskin, to the podium to read the names of our graduates.
Lauren Quinn, English, cum laude. Patricia Ton Murphy, English. Nyasia Hayes, English, cum laude. Kira Cheshire, English. Camelia Haynes, History. Kristen Ulmer, History. Angela Bohannon, History. Jai Ishmael, English. Beautiful. Dana Sepal, English. Tonice Mitchum, History. Tamari Francois, History. Marissa DeMarco, English. Ariel Bascom, English. David Horn, English. Albert Hernandez, History, magna cum laude. Gloria Rossini, English. Amanda Borowski, English. Jasmine Perzada, English, History. Excuse me, English. Vinko Mustapik, History, summa cum laude. Emily Sibley, English. Calvin Bonilla, English. Congratulations.
You can take your time to bring your hat back on.
Philip Karuba, History. Jeremy Minsky, History. Karmdeep Singh, Philosophy and Religion.
Congratulations again, class of 2021. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor right now. May I ask you to stand, turn toward your professors, and tell them thank you for all the wisdom and knowledge that they've poured into you over the years with a rousing round of applause. Don't forget those who are on the Zoom. To the faculty, staff, and everyone in this room who's not a graduate, I'm going to ask you to turn toward our graduates and give them an even more rousing round of applause. Congratulations. One final note. Take your tassel and turn it to the right side of your mortarboard, please. You weren't able to do this on Sunday, so we're going to do it today. On the count of 3, you're going to turn it from your right side to the left side. 1, ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, you have graduated 2 times from Old Westbury. Our ceremony has concluded. You can now go and greet your family and take your pictures. Congratulations, and we are so proud of you. Take care.